Again, this is pretty straightforward. This will just be the third annual Pink Pirates of Navarre event, October the 10th, which includes the two pavilions, and they do a benefit for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Any discussion? Move to Thursday's agenda without objection. Here and now it passes. Do we want to talk about the Navarre Pier now?
Yes, I believe there's a gentleman here that was concerned about being banned from the pier. I believe he had talked to Andrew's secretary late last week. We've got Scott Rayner and Stephanie Maddox with pier operators here. And
name and address, please.
To it.
My name is Arthur Waldrop. I live at 6905 Mobile Highway, Pensacola. And a week and a half ago that I was told that I was banned from the pier for an incident supposedly I was in. And supposedly came out 2 days later, they said, you're no longer welcome out here. So I was like, okay, for what? And they said, well, I don't know. I can't tell you. So I took it from that, and I went home. Then called back a couple days later to find out, and they supposedly wouldn't still tell me. To this day, I still don't know what happened, the incidents or whatever that occurred, and I found out a couple days ago, a friend said something about me throwing stuff around on the pier, which I don't throw my stuff around because I take care of my stuff. And I just want to find out why am I being banned, and set a meeting or something to try to get me unbanned, if that's possible.
Okay, just have a seat and we'll see what we can find out. Mr. Walker?
Yeah, again, we've got the pier operator, Scott, Stephanie. I mean, y'all step to the microphone. I mean, I believe this. I think there was one instance that I'm more familiar with that went back last year, with the board had gotten a number of complaints, and I think this is part of the same thing. Scott and Stephanie kind of set that better for me, and I know that Roger and Terry Wallace have been involved with this also.
Yes, sir. Good morning, gentlemen. As everybody knows and aware, I'll just kind of put this together right now. Navarre Beach, Navarre, Santa Rosa County, Commissioner Cole, you mentioned this earlier today, that the county's growing. Coastal concessions, we're on the front lines fighting the everyday battles on the beach, the pier, and now North Santa Rosa County. Our vision is to not become a Panama City or Pensacola Beach. Recently, there's been a huge groundswell of support to make Navarre Beach a family-friendly pier. A family environment was always our #1 goal from day one and was the highlight of our proposal that we submitted a couple years back. Mike and his crew, they do not own the pier. Over 160,000 residents own the pier, Santa Rosa County. That includes over 35,000 families. We've received great and positive feedback from not just locals, but national media as well. People ask us all the time why we think we're having record numbers come back to the pier. We believe it's because of our local families are coming back. Tourists don't feel threatened, and people who don't know how to fish can rent a pole and fish for the first time and not worry about getting dog cussed or harassed off the pier. Mike has had numerous chances to clean up his act. Last year, the county told us to ban him from the pier. Our mistake was we gave him another chance this year. We cannot make that mistake again. Since his return, he has thrown equipment around, obviously not his own equipment, verbally threatened other fishermen and visitors, uses foul language, and continues to sell fish at the end of the pier. We will continue to clean up the beach, the pier, and its image. Thank you guys for your support. We look forward to another year. And Stephanie, if you want to go to the specifics.
Hi, guys. Hunter, what you were talking about was last year, we had several complaints from, it was visitors, wasn't any locals, And in order for us to be able to set up cleaning up the pier, we had to assign some pier marshals, which they were local fishermen. They just kind of signed an agreement to help us be the eyes and ears when we weren't out there. This incident last week, actually I had 5 complaints. 2 were the local fishermen that were our pier marshals, but 3 were not. I had to give a refund to a woman with her granddaughter because of the foul language displayed by Mike, and she felt threatened. He was in an argument with another fisherman. That fisherman got wrote up. He got his 1 warning just like Mike did last year. You know, when I talked to Mike last year, I told him it was his one and only shot. He will not throw things, he will not cuss, or make anyone feel threatened. That's not what we do there. And so I didn't explain to him this time because we kept missing each other with me trying to open the other locations. I'm not there at 5:30 in the morning like I normally would be. So I just called and had him banned immediately, you know, because it's not going to be tolerated. Someone's granddaughter is not going to feel threatened on the fishing pier, not in my watch. So that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Just have a seat, and if we had more questions, we'll bring you back. Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
I was one of the few. I was selected to be one of the pier marshals. I spend a very large majority of my summer on Navarre Pier, and there's been recent events that I've seen of many people, not just one, but you see a lot of people when an inevitable mistake, like you see on a windy day, someone's line get casted over another person's line, they freak out, they start cussing other people out, and that's just not the family etiquette we need on Navarre Pier. And the man in here today, I seen a recent account one of my buddies threw, and his line got cut over his line, and he cussed at him and just got angry, and we can't really have that on Navarre Pier. And what I want is just for the family environment to be upheld and keep going the way it is, because the people who run it now are doing a very fine job, and I'm here to support them. So.
Thank you. Any questions by the board? Mr. Rob Williamson?
Yeah. The question I have is, have there been any incident reports or anything filed with law enforcement? It seems like we've had, there's one side, the other side, and then somewhere in the middle there's the truth. So what I'm trying to find out is if we've had multiple incidents, and I agree, safety is of paramount importance. I look at it as my first responsibility as an elected official is to try to provide for the public safety. That's the first charge that I have in this responsibility of being elected. I take it very seriously. You know, we've talked about how we want folks to feel safe when they come out to the pier. We don't want them to feel threatened. If we're going to have more people coming to our beach, we want to make sure that they feel safe and that we're providing the proper lifeguard protection for them. This here, to me, seems like we've had repeated offenses, maybe not just singling out this individual, but we've had others. Do we have an incident report that we could tie back to? That would make things a lot easier for everybody sitting up here if we could say, look, Mr. Smith, you know, we've got an incident report here that was filed. You know, our hands are tied. The pier marshal thing, it concerns me, because then you're putting folks that aren't trained, you're putting them in a position where it could become about personalities instead of about people that are professionally trained to handle what seems like could be an inflammatory incident.
Absolutely, and I agree with you, and that's something that we're probably going to have to change moving forward. It is about personalities, but the Pier Marshal program, it wasn't meant to enforce. It was meant to have witnesses out there. And we haven't gone, we were trying to stay clear from official reports. Tempers do get heated out there. Lines get crossed. There's tempers flare. And what we were trying not to do is to get an official police report, make something official, because I felt like it's not worth having somebody's reputation or somebody's actions on the pier become public record and official with law enforcement. However,
I appreciate that,
we do
Scott, but
feel
we
like that we might have to change that moving forward.
Absolutely. You have to protect yourself as a business
Right.
owner, and we have to protect the county from liability as well. If we have behavior that is crossing the line to where we've heard today that people feel threatened,
Right.
we're going to have to probably take those steps. And I don't feel that we
just
necessarily need a
felt
new
like
policy.
that-
The policy is there. It's called a trespass warrant. If we have somebody that is a bad actor, then we call law enforcement and we follow the proper steps.
Yes, sir. We just felt that with it being a county-owned pier and with witnesses, that we were able to keep things not on the record with the police, and but we will change that moving forward.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Cole?
Mr. Chairman, through the chair to Mr. Andrews, does the contract with the pier and coastal concessions allow them the ability to ban somebody from the pier under their discretion?
I think it does. They excuse, they are charged with enforcing the regulations that the county's put in place for the pier. And that includes no assault and no improper language. So yeah, that's part of their contract, is to enforce that.
I believe then we should stand behind their decision. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Y'all have a seat. And we're going to bring closure to this real quick.
My name's Catherine Waldrop, and my husband's Arthur Waldrop. I'd like to say that obviously they are not capable of, following through with their job, because if they can't enforce, something like this while they're at work, I mean, that just shows that they're incapable of handling a job like this. I go out there all the time with my husband, and I fish, and I see everything out there. I see all the people out there and the stuff that they do, and I can tell you personally that I don't know who the pier marshal is. I guess it was that kid that just came up here that said that they had a problem with him that day. But, I mean, they're all guilty of cussing out there. Every single guy out there, I've heard them cuss. So you can't tell me that my husband should be banned for cussing when every single guy out there cusses, and I've heard them myself. So those people are incompetent. They are not capable of, following through with their job. If they cannot, enforce, whatever they're talking about, they don't even have a record. They can't even show you any proof that they have a record of what supposedly my husband has been cussing out there, when every single, and kids cuss out there too, and I've heard them plenty of times. There's a lot of stuff that goes on out there that I see that she doesn't see because she's not even out there. She's not even doing her job.
Ma'am, direct everything to us, not them.
Okay, I'm just saying, I'm out there on the end of the pier, so I see what goes on. I can tell you a lot of stuff that goes on out there, okay? And I'd like to know who all these pier marshals are. I think they all need to come forward. I mean, I guess they're not supposed to, but whoever, is complaining against him needs to come forward, because, if she's not out there, she doesn't know. She wasn't even out there for the incident that happened. That they're going to ban my husband. We've been fishing out there for years. I go out there with them all the time. Those guys out there are jealous because I can catch him bait, and they don't have a wife out there that catches them bait. They're jealous of him because he catches more kings than they do. And that's why they want him banned. Because he knows what he's doing, and they don't.
Okay. Thank you. Name and address, please.
Good morning. Romy White, 8575 Gulf Boulevard. I live adjacent to the pier, and I go out there almost on a daily basis. And I have seen such a turnaround since the change in the operator of the pier. It has become a family-friendly environment, but unfortunately there are a few, and it's mostly men out there who continue to use inappropriate behavior and vulgar and profane language. And Mr. Mike, they do have a nickname for him, by the way, but I'm not going to repeat that. But I really hope that you guys will consider supporting the pier operator and what they're trying to do to maintain the family-friendly atmosphere that they've created. And as far as whatever they're saying about the pier marshals, there's guys on the end of the pier. The pier, you guys know, it may not be the longest pier in the Gulf, but it's a very long pier. And so you've got people who are willing to put their rod down and walk up to the office, and Stephanie's not always there. How could she be? But they go and they tell people what's going on, and these guys do something about it. Maybe they don't call the police. Maybe they just walk out there and say, please change your behavior. But there's been such a turnaround. I just ask that you support the Pier operator that you chose. Thanks for your time.
Okay, any comments, any other comments by the board? Commissioner J.R. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To go back to what the other Commissioner Williamson said about reports, I mean, would it not be appropriate process maybe to have a first initial report that was done by the staff at the pier to have on file and let that person know, whoever the complaint against is, they have another, that there could be a file or a report done by the Sheriff's Department, and that either be sent to Roger or whoever, Terry, that first initial report, so it was public record from the pier. It was not getting the Sheriff's Department involved, and then the second chance would be where you bring the Sheriff's, I don't know, it's just trying to have some type true process where we're not having this in any future meetings. We have a clear process of the way things need to be done.
Let us do that. Let us work with the pier operator, and we can work out those procedures. I think they're going to be pretty straightforward, and we can do something. We just have the need. We need to do that.
That was my thought too, is direct staff to get with the pier management, work out some type of incident reports or some way of giving us some documentation. But at the same time, I support your decision on this particular case. So just get with staff, and we'll work out something else. So any other comments? Okay, we support what you've done, so keep it clean down there, keep it safe, keep it family. Thank you.